SignalsAZ.com is a platform which is a part of a media company called Talking Glass Media, LLC. And Talking Glass Media was started by an organization called the Thane Signature Group out of
Hmm.
Prescott Valley, Arizona. And the Thane family is the family that actually homesteaded the region in the late 1870s. And so they really
Oh, wow.
seeded the town of Prescott Valley. The region itself has 150,000-ish full-time residents, give or take. And Prescott Valley has about 50,000. Um, but obviously, because we're like next door to Prescott, Arizona, which is a very large tourism town, we get a lot of pass-through traffic. And that's part of the
Mhm.
reason why we started the media companies is to really give Prescott Valley a voice because we were a pass-through town, and we wanted to fix that because we got a lot going on. It's a wonderful town. We're larger now than Prescott. We got the entertainment district. We got Northern Arizona's premier indoor events arena and many other things going on
Yep.
that people should know about. And the other reason why we started
Yep.
Signals AZ was because of the negativity in the media. We were just tired of the divisive politics as well as um, all the negativity, plain and simple. We're not liberal or anything like that. We're a
Mhm.
very conservative company, but positivity is what gets things done. Solutions-based
Right.
thinking, positive thinking, growth thinking, and that's why we started Signals AZ in March of 2018. Our first day, we had like 300 views, and now we're doing anywhere from 8,000 to 30,000 views.
Right.
Last year, 2019, because we're in 2020 now, although 2020 is crazy. 2019, we did over 1.5 million page views, and we're tracking now to do about 2.2 million page views. We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
So, just out of a
Awesome.
need for a positive publication, we created Signals AZ.
Amazing. Love that story. Love the inspiration. But I mean, even from a technical perspective, the way you guys are approaching this, you started digital only, but you're actually, is it true that you're getting into print now with a monthly magazine? So can you
Yeah,
tell me a little bit
so
about that strategy?
sure, sure. I took on the beast. Um, Long story short, we decided that Prescott Valley, our town, also needed a print voice. Again, our brother city, Prescott, had multiple publications. We really didn't have something dedicated to Prescott Valley region, so we launched TG Magazine. TG standing for Talking Glass, kind of the area that we brand. And we launched TG
Right.
Magazine the first of the year, and we're already in our second edition. And we're only into our third. Our third edition is going to be very interesting. Whether we do print or a digital version for this next version is the question we're
Okay.
kind of rolling through because of the coronavirus and everything else. But we're not stopping. We're just kind of pivoting a
Right.
little bit in terms of what we do with that publication. But again, so we've kind of dovetailed our print TG magazine, which is also available digitally, with Signals in that regard.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I just find it so interesting when I see that. So, I mean, the other thing that I didn't really point out is like you have uh, done something that a lot of people talk about as being needed to be done, which is like filling in these so-called news deserts. It sounds like that's what you had in the region. It wasn't being covered by anyone. And so you came in as a digital only publication, but as you've grown, print made sense as a secondary product. But I just think that is an interesting lesson because we don't know what's going to happen with everyone's print. Of course, there's surely going to be some. We already know about people pausing, certainly for the dailies, some of their editions. So just
Right.
how do they get back after all of this is kind of what I'm thinking about. And it may mean that a weekly turns into a bi-weekly or a monthly as they slowly come out of it. Whatever, they just need to not be so hard-headed about it. Like just be flexible and whatever makes sense to print at whatever frequency and whatever size. Maybe a larger paper once a month makes more sense after everything kind of settles down.
Right. Well, first, if people don't adapt, they're going to die. And it's hard
Right.
to let go of something that you've done the same way for a long time. I think that's just human nature and psychology. Nothing wrong with
For
it,
sure.
but it'll kill you if you don't. And that's why we quickly said, well, maybe we could just go to digital. What this is all saying to us is, and it's good for signals. It's good for the digital side because everyone's going online right now. Our
Exactly.
metrics have jumped up incredibly over the past week,
Yeah.
doubling and
Right.
tripling. We know people are consuming and looking for information digitally. So what does that tell everybody is, you want to have a digital presence. I'm not saying it's the only presence to have. We're proof of that. We do radio ads sometimes. We obviously have print, but it's
Right.
where everything is going. 70% of our traffic is mobile. So we're
Yep.
getting more into designing for mobile first. That's what I always tell my videographer is design for mobile first. Um, so
Right.
you can't ignore those numbers. And
Right.
knowing that, I feel really confident about our future right now, and that because what's happening, what's happening is going to
Mhm.
um, I think push a lot of these emerging technologies over the edge to be more the norm and commonplace. So, for example, we've
Right.
seen the big emergence of Zoom teleconferencing or GoToMeeting, which we're on now. They've been around, at least
Right.
GoToMeeting's been around quite a while. Zoom is kind of new, the new thing. Um, but I think
Right.
though those are accepted, I think now it's going to be more the norm. It's going to be more the norm to work from home. There's going to be more the norm to have
Right.
a sales meeting via GoTo as going to see the client. It's going to be more of the
Yep.
norm to have all this collaboration from a video and online standpoint, and people are consuming this
Right.
digitally. So I think
Right.
we're positioned real well to come out of this. And I'm glad we launched, when we did. It's frustrating what's going on, but we're all in it. And all we can
Right.
do is try to
Yeah.
find solutions for our community because we're a really tight knit community. Find solutions on our platform and utilize our platform for the community. That's all we can do right now.
That exactly. Yes. And you have to think from like a first principles perspective like that. It's no longer about, selling ads. It's about getting the message out for the advertiser. Whatever that message needs to be, that's changing all the time, but no doubt it's changed from what it was a month ago, completely. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the solutions that you've come up with. We shared this with maybe we could start with the home delivery directory. Does that sound good? Go through that because we highlighted this in
Sure.
our newsletter this week. So we'll dive in a little bit more here. So tell us about what your thinking was with this.
So I've done something similar in the past, but again, we're a community of 150,000 people ish, but we're a tight knit community. It's a small community, and obviously we're in the same boat as everyone else. Our
Right.
clients and our potential partners are retracting right now, trying to find out what's going on. Bars and restaurants are closed. So who
Right.
are those people that we can engage to leverage our platform for the community? And one of those partners that came up was one of our larger car dealerships, Finley Toyota Prescott. Great partner, great people, highly involved in the community. And so we approached him and said,
Mhm.
hey, we want to do a community directory that showcases the businesses that are still open, whether that's curbside delivery, takeout, straight up delivery and transportation services. People still have to move around. And
Right.
obviously, there's a lot of takeout going on right now, which is great for the businesses that are still doing that. Um,
Right.
but there's an expense to that. And Finley Toyota Prescott stepped up and sponsored our efforts to create this comprehensive directory for restaurants, bars, taxi services, uh,
Right.
any kind of home service, automotive, and it's growing daily because we promote it. We create videos to promote it and let people know that
Hmm.
we are out there trying to help them. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is no different, Matthew, than what we've spoken about before in terms of community-based marketing. That's where a lot of everything is at right now in terms of marketing. Businesses want a feel good. They want to be involved nowadays, at least the smart ones, in the community and how they can benefit the community. So Finley's a perfect example. Said, hey, we'll support your efforts to build this directory and promote it. Let's get it out there so everybody knows who's in business and what they're offering. So
Right.
that's what, and that's what
That
the,
is amazing.
that's what this business is all about. We offer different levels. So there's a free directory. Here's our free listings
Okay.
up here on the screen here listed. And then the ones
Uh-huh.
with logos and links are enhanced directories. And we only charge a $25 admin fee. It's not a big deal
Uh-huh.
from a metric standpoint. The value is worth a lot more, but we just want to cover our internal costs for the enhanced fees. And
Sure.
then we push it out through social media daily.
Right, right. Got it. Okay, so you're completely managing this. It's a daily thing. Um, can you tell me a little bit about that, like your team? Because again, just really breaking it down to the basics, because we're talking about newspapers that normally operate around print. You know, just moving their whole workflow online can seem daunting, but I think once they do it, they'll find it's not. But how do you manage this? You have a team of remote workers that hasn't changed for you, right?
No, we're fortunate. I have really two full-time people. Basically my assistant editor. She drives all the content. I work kind of in tandem with her. Uh, I'm more out. I'm more or less out all the time developing strategic relationships, developing new products, stuff like that. She's not driving
Right.
content and developing relations with the organizations that are pumping out content. So we get, dozens, if not hundreds, of press releases sent to us weekly, daily. So she drives
Right.
that. And we also have a full-time in-house videographer because that's where a lot of this is at. So we're able to make our own promotional videos as well as make small business videos and promo videos, things of that nature for
Hmm.
small businesses as a service. But additionally, we use our videographer um, to go out and help capture stories and video as well. And then he does a lot of post
Right.
production. So really, uh, I shouldn't say only two full time because I'm a part of a larger organization. We have accounting and we have office admin, but directly
Right.
related to Signals AZ, I have a couple of full time people. And then in house with my other organization, we have a few part time people that we pull from when needed. And then I have some contract writers and curators that are part
Right.
time. So my staff's really not that big, but we're
Hmm.
pumping
Right.
out 12 to 20 stories a day. Um,
Well, that
on
was my
average,
next question.
generating,
Yeah.
yeah, we're generating
12.
again, like I said, 3,000 to 20,000 page views a day.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, the thing that I did want to ask is, I when we first talked, I loved how really you kind of centered the promotions around the events that these businesses were putting on, and with the events schedule drying up for the next few months, like how are you, besides this directory, um, I guess what are you pitching to the advertisers as something that they need to promote?
Good question. So, what I like to say to my sales force, we've got a full time salesperson, people out there, and
Hmm.
is we have our fish net to pick up the salmon. We sling our harpoon over our shoulder when there's a whale there to get. Right now, we have a lot of fish nets out, and we
Yeah.
have to be we have to help the community. Um, realistically, there's only going to be a few organizations out there that are really seeing this as an opportunity. And this is when the big wins happen, is when the economy shrinks, gaps open in the market, opportunities open, other competitors fall off, and the smart ones
Right.
are out making big moves. And so we're looking for those partners, and I think we've already found some of them. But
Hmm.
additionally, what we're doing is just right now being more of a service. We're gaining market share by doing really affordable things like the $25 listing. Do we make money on that? Absolutely not. But we're
Right.
engaging the client, we're developing a relationship and a trust. They're getting used to investing in us, and we're confident that those people will come back because we're going to show them the metrics. Everything you do online is measurable. So when we show them a read
Right.
report on their article or their click-through rate, it's different than radio. It's different than print. It's tangible. And that's
Right.
what they love about our strong clients that have been with us from day one. They love about is we share with them their read report and click through monthly, and it
Right.
works. They stay with us. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we're doing right now to gain market share. It's really early, obviously, in the
Okay.
game. I think
Yep.
it's going to improve over time, but again, the next couple of weeks will be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, what you just outlined though, there is a pretty good step by step. Like, so first of all, I think what I got out of that is that you want them, in you want them advertising with you even at the most basic level. So that can be a directory listing for $25. I think this is an opportunity for a lot of print newspapers to pick up those advertisers that were never really interested in print and get them in at a Facebook level budget, $25 a month. That's kind of what people will spend on Facebook to get a few hundred, fake likes or whatever they end up giving you,
Right.
but I mean, some of them can be useful because of the targeting, but I mean, whatever. That's a separate issue. So get them into the ecosystem, get them into your directory. Then you've got this directory after this disaster that's going to basically be like a CRM, and you can follow up with them, to
Exactly.
try to upsell them
Exactly.
when things pick back up. Okay, now let's get into that. So like we've talked about this many times, and I'm always in awe with like the way you're packaging digital. So can you just kind of at a high level walk us through? And I think we've covered this in other videos, but again, just like your strategy for where you put the ads. I think you're now doing a lot of category sponsorship. Like, can you just kind of give us the view there, how you're thinking of packaging the digital
Well, we
products?
really just, a lot of it's driven by the client and what their needs are. So we get into conversations
Okay.
and get them asking a lot of questions about themselves. Where do they want to go?
Yeah.
Who do they want to be? What's their budget? What are they currently spending their dollars on? A lot of folks that we
Right.
pick up are simply, at least pre-coronavirus, is just frustrated with
Right.
not being able to tell how well their efforts are going in the marketing and advertising world. And again, everything that
Right.
we do is measurable because it's digital. So that's part of it, but it's really based on the client
Right.
needs. A lot of what we do is finding partners that have content and want to share their expertise because again it's
Yeah.
a content marketing platform. You can call it a multimedia news site, but at the end of the day, people searching
Right.
online, they're finding articles based on organic search, which is our, I believe, number two referrer. um, Actually it's our number one referrer. Our number two referrer is social media. So
Okay.
showing people that, showing a
Yeah.
potential client the power of SEO. And if
Right.
you invest monthly with us and share with us your content, we'll package it in a way to make you the thought leader in your industry, whether you're an accountant or you're an automotive fabricator for four-wheel drive vehicles, or you're a pediatric office offering COVID-19 testing. We will talk about that on
Right.
a frequent basis and
Yep.
get the word out there. So when people do search, because right now they are online, they will find you and we can help enhance your visibility online. That's what we do.
Right. Right. And yeah. To boil this down into maybe like let's say three things that you do for like an average customer. I know they're all different, but
Okay.
let's take one of those examples. I love any one of those. The doctor's office, just put if they're writing an article about, I don't know, the the cases in the county and covering the story on like a local level, you would put that on the website. That would be like one tier of the package, right? You'd publish it on the homepage.
Exactly. So I was just looking for it. We published it a day or two ago.
Okay.
Search for it. It's basically Yavapai Pediatrics, and they're a client. Um, and they were one of the first to announce a couple of things that was relevant to what's going on. One is they had the COVID-19 testing for high risk patients, young patients. So that's a big story,
Right.
right? Because testing was hard
Yep.
to find. So we wanted to lead with that to open their account. Number two is they're getting into telemedicine. And I think I
Oh,
referenced it earlier. What are the emerging businesses coming out of this that we want to be on top of and partner with as clients going forward? And telemedicine is
right.
one of where I want to be. Who are the
Right.
doctors running to get into that? Because if I was a doctor, I wouldn't want to be jamming and seeing clients all day. If I can be on the phone with patients and do the same thing or close
Right.
to it,
Right.
there's where I want to be.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so we're going to start kind of promoting that. And what we do,
Yeah.
to answer your question, is for a pediatric firm, for example, is we started off with the directory. Now we're doing featured stories, and
Right.
they're not so much advertorial as they are factual in nature. They're just being driven by the client. We help edit that,
Right.
so it's not so advertorial. It's very factual. And then, how
Hmm.
can people get a hold of the client? So you
Right.
have your basic listings. You then get into content marketing, show them successes through the analytics and the metric tools that we have to show them the performance of the articles. And then it rolls into
Right.
stuff like small business video production that we then promote on our pages and through social media. And it kind of grows from
Right.
there as the trust builds and the metrics build.
Right, right. Very cool. Yeah, I love how you're not just selling the audience, which it is an impressive audience, but the services, the production services for getting the content together, editing the article. You could take the article and then make a video from that. Maybe I don't know how you approach like writing the script for the video, but I mean that's just one idea to maybe like really streamline this for papers
We
that
have
are
a good
just getting into
videographer.
it.
We have a good team.
Get it.
So we pick our
Yeah.
team wisely. That's why we can
Yeah.
operate on a small staff. Austin,
Right.
aka Batman, he likes to work in the dark. Um, Austin
Yeah.
is a really talented young guy who loves working on his own and creating videos. So I tell him we need a promo
Right.
video. I need it in an Instagram, a Facebook cover, and YouTube format. Get it to
Yeah.
me next week, and I've got a new video
Yeah.
ready the next week, and that's something that we can run. So we did a short promo video for Finley Toyota
Mm.
Prescott, our sponsor, the community directory, promoting the community directory. So leveraging all the different assets
Right.
and the platforms to not only promote our own initiatives but those of our clients. And video is super important. We couldn't not have a videographer. It's just
Right.
you got to have video.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a big one. It's like something that, I think every newspaper knows they need and they need to get into, but it can seem a little bit daunting to get into. But okay, what else did I have on my list here? Let me just, I hid my questions away somewhere. Hey Terry, have you seen any, has there been anything else that you think um, our customers would benefit from just like hearing Guy explain in a little more detail? Had that other video that we did with you where we had like the five components of the email or the marketing campaign, which included newsletters. We didn't talk about that today, but we already did that quite a bit. Um, Anything else come to mind, Terry? Or
Nothing really comes to mind. I love Guy's marketing strategy. If we could get that down to like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 system, that would be awesome
yeah,
for our publishers. The one thing that I'm sensing though is um, it's kind of twofold, is your supreme desire to help the community, and then the other is to really promote a good image for your advertisers. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it's paramount. It's a big part of what we do is promoting the community. The community, if the community is not successful, we're not going to have advertisers. So we're kind of unique in that way as a publication. Whether you agree with it or not, it's not an argument for me. It's okay if you don't agree with me, but we don't publish bad news. It's just we don't think it's news. I don't. Somehow we got in this mindset that a car crash is news. It's news if it's blocking the freeway and you want to find an alternative route home and they provide that alternative route. That's news. That's information. But to hear that, a couple people died on the freeway,
Mm.
to us, that's not news. What is news is, hey, there's a car accident. Here's an alternative route for you.
Yeah.
Buckle up, be safe, because people that died didn't wear seatbelts. Or percentages of people that die in car accidents that don't wear seatbelts. Good information that informs people, educates them to help make a better decision.
Mm.
That's news and information. Now, you might disagree
Mm.
with me, and that's fine. But we
Right.
decided when we launched this that we wouldn't publish anything divisive. We would not publish anything negative. So if you pour through our site, there's not one single negative thing in it. There's some limitations to that. There's some stuff that maybe we could publish, but at the end of the day, if it comes off as divisive and creates an argument, we don't think we did our job. We want to entertain, inform, engage, and help people find solutions, and that's what we do. I thought we would lose a lot of readership doing that because I co-owned another site previous to this, and it was a straight up news site. It had the car crashes, the drug arrests, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of people looking at that. The rubberneckers love that stuff. I don't watch the news. I don't even look at the news. I look at our
Mm.
stuff because it helps me find out what's going on in the community, and it gets people out and engaged. It gets them going to events. It creates economic activity. That's what we do. We don't want to scare people inside their house. We want to pull people out of their house and engage them and get them entertained and informed. So that's our mission. And I should say that based on our numbers, we're doing twice as much at least than our competitor online in numbers from the standard sites. So there's something about the positivity that must be working.
Excellent.
So to answer your question, yeah, that's what we do. It's paramount that we make our community. I shouldn't say make them look good. We want to share what is good in our community.
Right. Very
Big part of
cool.
our strategy.
It's like so. Right. Yeah. I love the way you talk about even the bad news, how it's covered is so important. And the way people put things out there into the culture, there's a serious impact on it, and it hasn't really been thought through. It's almost like we've evolved to this point because everyone's chasing
We've evolved
ratings.
to this point. I'm a firm believer of that. I don't think anybody had any intention otherwise. And again, you can disagree with me.
Right.
I don't find these publications bad publications. I just think there's a different way to do it, and that's what we're going to do. So, getting back to what you just said, Matthew, um, if this happens, so if a really well-known veteran helicopter pilot dies in a crash, this actually happened a couple of years ago. He was in the, I believe, U.S. Army, and then he went to work in civilian for a big um, university. Passed away in an unfortunate incident. Wasn't his fault. It was mechanical, I believe. But my one of my guys wants to say, "Hey, I want to cover the crash. It's big news." Mike, are you going to cover how he died or how he lived?
Right.
So I said, run it, but run it about how he lived. If you want to end it with he
Right.
passed away on this date at the end, that's great, but show how he lived his life. And that's the difference, the
Right.
nuance between, to me, to us, between good and bad news.
That's very cool. Yeah, but you gotta really step back and think about your psychology. You gotta be mindful of how these things are affecting you. And I think a lot of people are not. So you obviously are. You've taken this approach like for your personal life, ignoring most ways news is presented. But yeah, I like that philosophy a lot. So one thing I want to kind of just take it back to just tie it all back together. We've got you just released this, your 2020 media kit. So this, I think a lot of papers would benefit from seeing a digital media kit. I mean, I don't want to send you bad leads or something, but I mean, is there a way what we could maybe do is just share, by the way, this video on the app is amazing. Did that guy do this or did you hire a firm to
That's
do? He did this
that's our
too?
guy. That's Batman. Yeah, that's
That's
our guy.
awesome. I love that so much. Yeah, like I want to share that. I don't know, is there a way that we could get a copy of the media kit without flooding your form so I could just share it with publishers? Would that
Yeah,
be something you'd be willing to do, or
yeah, of course.
just a
We have
PDF that we could link to?
national reach and we have national brands. So any national brand out there that wants to be on our pages as a shameless plug, we're doing
Oh yeah,
1.5 to 2.2 million page views. And if you want to be seen in the Phoenix, Prescott Valley markets, we're the spot to be.
right,
Shameless.
right. Signalsaz.com/advertise. Yeah, I think that's another like really concrete bit of advice we could take. Setting up a media kit page like this, first of all, where people can enter in a form. They don't need to call you or have you call them. They can just get this. Does this email it out immediately, or do you have to follow up via email
So good
when they
question.
submit?
Forums are turning out to be really powerful for us. I really love them. The platform that you guys set up at Hometown makes it really easy for me to duplicate and create new forums for new initiatives. And one thing that
Right,
we created for 2000, last half of 2019 and obviously 2020 is data capture services. So what these forms do for the people that don't know is it takes down all the info and then it collects it into a database in the back end of the website into an Excel spreadsheet or CSV spreadsheet. And then I can download that seamlessly to a client. And a perfect example is a home builder that we're working with. They just broke ground on I think 120 apartment units in town. And, housing is sorely needed for us up here because we're growing. We're the fastest growing community in Yavapai County, which is one of the largest counties, if not the largest in Arizona. Don't quote me on that.
hmm
Um, but so what we did is we created a form. If you want more information, we did a story on the groundbreaking, a video on the groundbreaking, big splash on
right,
new housing, and then the form collects information from people that want to know more about leasing when it comes available. And we launched
right.
that 3 or 4 weeks ago, and there's probably over 100 leads already that we've been
hmm
downloading in real time to the client. Additionally, we did the
hmm
same thing with our apartment buildings in town, 220 units, luxury apartments, really well appointed apartments. Again, people didn't think
Yeah,
people would rent these out because they're not cheap, but they're really well appointed, different end of the market. And we did the same data capture service for that client and killed it.
right.
I don't know how much marketing they had to do. That
Yeah.
apartment housing was filled in 8 months. It's 99% occupied. But we're able to capture data in real time for clients using forms like this online that are easy to duplicate.
Okay, yeah. Let me just unpack that a little bit more because I love that. This idea of lead generation in general, I think needs to be more of a focus for everyone. But there's a lot of ways you can do it. I've heard about people doing contests where they give away something from the business, and then that's a pretty good, qualified list of people that wanted to participate in that contest. But
Right.
this is a whole new approach. You're writing a story about something related to the business or something that they're doing, and then you don't just send people to the business's website. You get that information for them. You're collecting the emails and then you're passing it on, and that's how you monetize it.
Right. So I'm looking to pull up the specific article we're talking about. That's still
Okay.
running. So once we publish it, we coordinate with our social media people. We have them add that to the daily mix, and we
Right.
continue to push out the article for the client. So this is the groundbreaking story. There's a little short video in there.
Right.
And then below that, we have basically for leasing and info, media inquiries on Park Place, fill out the information below, and we get in leads
Right.
daily on this just from resharing it to the community.
Right. Okay. Yep. And that's the other thing. You got to think about your marketing system so you don't. We got to think about it and plan it out so you don't have to think about it later. So you say you have like a daily feed, I think you said, and it basically goes into the funnels, right? So you publish it on the website, it goes in the newsletter, it goes on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you are. Maybe you're
Yeah,
not on LinkedIn.
the beauty of digital, again, for the print publishers, if they don't know it, is media can be repurposed in multiple ways on multiple platforms for multiple
Right.
exposure. So we publish something on signalsaz.com. It then goes onto our Facebook feed, and if we want to or need to, that's repetitively pushed through the cycle daily, weekly, monthly. We then push it through other social media platforms, including LinkedIn, and then of course our newsletter that grows daily. We add anywhere from 60 to 300 subscribers a month organically. I specifically don't promote that or push it hard. I want people to really opt in on their own so that we have a high retention rate and a high readership rate.
Right.
And that's working really well. The newsletter we release every Thursday morning at like 5 a.m. and it's our top stories of the week.
Right.
Again, another platform is for potential sponsors. We have a lot of sponsors for that. And that does
Right.
really well. We could measure our traffic from there.
Okay, very cool. And another, just a systems question. I can imagine that your workflow is a story goes on the website, and then people know that if it's on the website, it needs to go into Facebook. But what about these stories that I think you mentioned it, where if you have an upcoming event, then part of the deal is you advertise it a month ahead, 2 weeks ahead, a week ahead, right? Don't you kind of re-release things? So how do you keep that all organized, I guess? Like
It's an
what needs to
editorial.
be published when?
I would love to say that it's a super fancy software program that keeps all our layers of our onion organized, but the reality is we have weekly meetings. We have a
Yeah,
weekly editorial meeting. We go through
got
client
it.
by client. We got a Ouija board basically on the wall with every client. And we just go through a needs assessment, making sure we're not missing anything. And it helps to collaborate
Right,
between videographers and salespeople. Um,
right,
Editorial works very closely with sales. You wouldn't think they would, but
right.
they do. I make sure that they're talking daily. And same
Uh-huh.
thing with the video guy. What do we need to run? So
Right.
yeah, that's where the work comes in. It's all about collaboration and organization.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And they could continue doing that over GoTo and social media at this time. So yeah, that's a system. I mean, it doesn't have to be a program or a spreadsheet. I think it's just having a system in your mind. So that's your weekly meetings.
We
That
have we
sounds
have the
good. That's
spreadsheet.
kind of what we do.
We have the spreadsheets. We have CRM and all that. But when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, we use the CRM as reference because we have to dig something up or push something out. But
Right.
really, our Monday morning meetings are crucial to not leaving something behind or uncovering a
Right.
nugget that's in our own database that a topic came up and we know a client who is in that wheelhouse, and that's when we call them.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, this was
Thanks,
really
guys.
fun, guy. Thank you so much for the time.